Hi, I'd like to show and tell you a little bit about the MonDayHour calendar program. I want to start out with a blank slate. So let's go to File, New Calendar File, and let's name it New Calendar. Very unusual name. Okay, so you see that the new calendar is blank, and if we want to look at what's going on in January, you'll see that January is blank. The entire calendar is blank. You'll see that these days before the first of the month have no date in them, but after the end of the month, after the 31st, you first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth of the next month. If you want to go to the next month, you can click on this tool. If you want to go to the previous month, you can click on that tool, or you can jump directly to the month you're interested in by using the drop down tool to select a month and select the year. It's a perpetual calendar, so it goes on and creates a calendar for all time. So let's start out with, we need to get some information in this file. So let's start out with File. I'm going to import the US holidays, and the US holidays is just a text file, and it's in the users public documents MonDayHour subdirectory, and it's a text file. So I'm going to open that, and we're going to see the import tool displayed above the calendar. Now this is all set up to import a text file that was exported by another calendar. So if you need to change the arrangement or the what field is first, you can use these drop down boxes. I'm going to go ahead and import the fields, and you'll see that I have two holidays for January. You'll see that there's a couple days for February, March. Okay, I don't like the white, so I'm going to start back in January. You can start with any month, and I'm going to go to File, Settings, and I'm going to, you see this panel here that's surrounded, the Select Month panel. You see everything we do in this panel is related to the month of January. So if you need to go to another month, use the drop down here. And I am going to browse, and I am going to pick a file that I like to use for January, which happens to be the ice cream file. Now this file can be any JPEG. If you have a file that's in another format, you can use a file converter to switch it to a JPEG format. Now you'll see that these backgrounds here, okay, the background for the colors and the foreground for the colors is a very light white. The background color is being shown in the box there. Okay, so I'm going to go to the grid view, and I'm going to grab the darker blue. Do a Control C, and I'm going to paste it here. And you see, as I leave that box, it displays the color that I have selected. So clicking in another box. Okay, so I want to use a day size font of 10, which lets me see a little bit more, and I'm going to use a font of 11 bold. Okay, so these are my January settings. Okay, now if I click copy January to all, it's going to copy the background foreground colors to all 12 months, the font, but it's not going to copy the image. So I'm going to copy January to all. Okay, now before I leave here, I want to show you some sound files. Okay, so sound file 1 has no file name, so I'm going to set up you see that the wave files are in the public documents MonDayHour in the sounds directory, and I have given you you know, probably 20 or 30 different sound files. But you can use any WAV file you like, or you can use a format converter to convert your sound to one that you like. I'm going to choose fire truck air horn. Okay. So that's sound number one. If it gets too long, if you want to stop the playing of it, you can just hit the stop button. Okay, I'm going to set up a sound for sound number two, and that's going to be chimes. Okay, so you can set up all the different sounds that you like by number. You can have up to 30 different sounds. Okay, so now we have, let's look at our calendar. That's the graphic view of our calendar, and I am going to add a date to, I'm going to add something to the 6th of January. So if I go over here, go back to the grid, and I'm going to say 1/6/2021, and I'm going to call it sample. Okay. Alright, now use the default color. The foreground color of 0 means it's black, and I didn't set up a date type, but if you select here, there's many different date types that you can select, or you can make up your own. So you'll see that if I go to the view, sample text, okay, we have just added our first item to the calendar. You can do this for any number of items any month. Okay, let's go back to the grid, and I'm going to show you how to set up a sound. So I want this sound to give me an alarm at 11:30. 11:30. Okay, now it's not a repeating date, like in this case the New Year's holiday starts on 1/1/2021, and it's a yearly repeating date, and it repeats for 15 years. That way New Year's holiday is always January 1st, so I can just set up one and set up for the number of repeating values that I want. And you see that there's different types. I have a daily repeating, weekly repeating, monthly, yearly. I can, using the mask, I can say I want it on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay, I can also set up a specific year and week value, or a month and a week value. I can have set up a last day of the month, and I can set it up so that I can have the text repeat every 5 days or every 10 days. Okay, in this case I'm not setting up a repeat. Okay, this number came from the settings. I told it I want to use that as the background. The foreground is 0. I didn't set up this as a date type. I could come down here and I'll just call this, I have one for testing. Okay, now I want to set up an alarm, and I want to set up the alarm so it goes off 10 minutes before 11:30. So I'm going to set it up as 10, comma, well, I'm just going to set it up for 10, but you can have multiple alarms here. Now, putting anything in this alarm box will cause you to have an alarm at 11:30. By setting this to 10, it'll give us an alarm at 11:20. Okay, now what sound file do we want to use? Okay, those sound numbers, I'm going to set up number 1. Okay, you can turn it off by hitting the stop button up there if you don't want to keep hearing it. Okay, so 2. So it depends on how important this is to you, what sound file you use. I like to have dogs barking, because that kind of says, hey, what's going on? The dogs are barking, that's an alarm. Okay, so now if we go back to the File, you'll see that, oh, I didn't set up, the reason it doesn't show the time is because I need to set it up as AM or PM, or I can set it up AM Eastern Time, PM Eastern Time, so that you can set the values. Now if I go back to the graphic view of the calendar, you'll see I have a star, 11:30 a.m. Now the star, or the asterisk, says that there's a sound with that. So you know that this date has a sound associated with it. Okay. I think that's enough to get you started. I'm just going to go File. I'm going to import some date data. I have it set up for all my family. So if we look here, call family dates, you'll see that I have all of the anniversaries, all the weddings, and I have some death days involved in it too, like my brother Steve passed in January of 2014. And Martin Luther King holiday. Okay, so this holiday is a repeating holiday. Martin Luther King holiday, it happens on the third Monday of January every year. So if you go back here and look at the value, you see that Martin Luther King Day should say repeating there. Apparently I don't have that set up quite right, but it's actually repeating. You can say 15 years, and that would be, to set it up correctly, you could say year, week, and this would be third of January, and that's how you'd set that up correctly. I've done that. I need to export the data again to give you a better usage there. But anyway, so I think I've shown you how to set up most things. The other things you can probably figure out by experimenting. Thank you for your time. Good luck to you.